Well, let's go to the source on this. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman from California, Ro Khanna. I teased you up. So I'm going to ask you the question. Is it going to happen if Democrats are given the opportunity to control both houses of Congress and the White House?
Yes. I mean, Katie, look, first, just as a parent, it's heartbreaking. I mean, this is supposed to be a week where kids are going back to school. You're celebrating, you're getting school supplies. And it's not just devastating for the families who've lost someone at that school. This is going to be news around the country.
It's traumatic for every single student and parent in this country thinking about sending their kids off to school.
Kamala Harris talks about campaigning on joy, but they're robbing the joy of young people with these kind of incidents. I mean, it's robbing the innocence of childhood.
So is it going to happen?
It is. Look, the House has already passed these things when we had Democratic control. We passed an assault weapons ban. Yep. And you're absolutely right. Look, I'm for funding more mental health counselors. I'm for funding more safety at schools. But you also have to deal with the source. And that's why the House has passed a universal background check. It's passed red flag laws that if you know someone is disturbed and may misuse a weapon, that you can go to a court and a court giving them due process can take that away. These are common sense things. We were frustrated that the Senate was blocking it on a filibuster. I believe that there's much more consensus to eliminate a filibuster, to pass policies. People say, well, what happens if the Republicans get in charge? Well, the Republicans have policies that aren't polling at 70, 80%. We have popular policies.
On the issue of guns and the proposals for gun control, the majority of Americans want that to happen. They want universal background checks. They want more safety checks around these assault weapons. They don't want someone to go out with a bump stock and shoot up a concert. They don't want a kid to have an assault rifle that he took from his parents or that he was able to buy on his own or get a ghost gun online, whatever, walk into a school and shoot people. They want to feel safe in their grocery store. I asked David Hogg this. I'll ask you this as well. Do you find it surprising that there aren't more Americans in the street in the aftermath of these things just organically coming out and saying enough is enough?
Well, there are more and more thanks to people like David Hogg. I mean, he's been inspiring a lot of Gen Z, and younger folks are inspiring, and we're growing and seeing momentum. And it was important for him to point out that something did get done. This is not nihilism. We had passed a law that gave schools more funding, that had at least background checks for people under 21. But you have a situation where often these shooters are 18 to 25. We know that they have these access to weapons. Why not at the very least ban people under 25 from having access to these weapons? I'm for a whole assault weapons ban, but let's look at common sense. And, I talk to a lot of Republicans. I understand the tradition of hunting. I understand that most of them are law-abiding.
It's not about hunting. But it's not about having a weapon to go hunting. It's about having a weapon that can go kill a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Exactly. And you can say, many of them say, we want to have gun safety laws because we don't want to be responsible for these kind of horrific shootings. They don't look at whether someone's kid is a Republican or a Democrat, a kid of a hunter or not. It's just a black mark. It's a stain on our country. And I hope, even if the Republicans have the Senate, I hope we can just pass things to make progress.
A lot of law enforcement officers say the same thing. They don't want to show up to a scene and have to do a warlike battle with somebody who's got a bulletproof vest and an AR-15 and God knows how many rounds of ammunition at their disposal. This feeds into a larger question that I've had, and Chris Murphy was getting into this, and I think you have too, which is this idea that Americans right now, broadly speaking, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, feel a bit out of control. Like they don't have control of their own destiny. They don't have control of their future. That control is in the hands of either a minority of voters, or it's in the hands of corporations, or it's in the hands of big tech. They're at the mercy of everybody else. Jobs have become soulless. They can't affect change that they want. When you look at the Generation Z polling numbers that I mentioned to David Hogg a moment ago, do you expect your life for your generation to be better or worse than the previous generation? Close to a majority, 48%, nearly 50%, say they expect it to be worse. How do the Democrats address that depression about the future, the frustration about not being in control any longer?
Well, it's sad to me because my parents are immigrants. They came here for the American dream. I had the chance, as did my brother, to live that American dream. You look at Silicon Valley, by the way, and you ask young people that question, and they're very optimistic about the future. So why is that? It's because they have good education opportunities in public schools. It's because they have health care. It's because they see all of this economic opportunity of jobs and wealth generation. It's because they have some opportunity to be able to go get a house and to be able to live. And we've got to create that sense of economic opportunity across this country. That's why I was really pleased with Vice President Harris talking about an opportunity economy, about allowing people to get education, health care, build wealth, and be able to afford a house and afford to raise kids. That American dream has slipped away from many, many people in many parts of the country.
These proposals that she came out with today, the tax deduction, $50,000 to start a new business, a deduction, that's a really big deal. Simplifying the tax returns, everyone likes that. Investing more, expanding access to venture capital, something you know well, but also expanding the number of investments the federal government makes in small businesses and focusing on rural places in particular. And then the tax on the rich. If you make $1 million or more, we're going to tax your capital gains at 28%, your long-term capital gains, and also making sure that billionaires and corporations aren't paying less than nurses and firefighters. Are these the sorts of things that can get through maybe a Congress that is not controlled by the Democrats? Maybe one House is controlled by the Republicans.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that when you're talking about tax cuts for the working class, which is what the child tax credit is, or tax cuts for small businesses, which could be a startup or it could be the local dry cleaner, this is going to create good jobs.
So she can do this even if she's not handed control of all arms of government?
Some of them. I mean, I don't think she's going to get the tax fairness part because, unfortunately, you've had Bush give massive tax cuts, Bush Jr. to the rich, and Trump do that. But at least the tax cuts and tax credits for job creation and for the working and middle class, she can. But the big contrast here is all her policies come from a view of how do you help the working and middle class and small business. Donald Trump's view, philosophically, is you got to help people like him because they're the ones who create the jobs. So give the tax cuts to the very wealthy, to the Elon Musks. They're the job creators. Kamala Harris and the Democrats' view is no, the heart and backbone of this country is the working and middle class. It's a philosophical difference.
If I'm not mistaken, you were arguing that part of the issue with this election was that Biden wasn't speaking plainly enough to voters about the economy. And you said, you know, for all of the jobs that were created with the CHIPS Act, he could have gone and opened up just a couple more plants in a couple key places. And that messaging alone would have gone much farther, would have been more potent to voters than there's going to be new jobs coming down the pike.
I think President Biden was a transformative president, but we haven't been able to convey it. I mean, he reversed 50 years of offshoring industry, of jobs going offshore, of steel, of aluminum. And he said, no, we're going to invest in manufacturing in this country, new battery plants, new solar plants, new steel plants that are going to be good for climate, but good for jobs. And now I'm excited because Vice President Harris...
But address what you said, which is that there should have just been the reopening of a few plants here and there, and that would have done just as much on messaging, if not more.
Well, I think that we should have gone to certain communities, picked a place like Johnstown, Pennsylvania, like Ashtabula County, Ohio, Downriver, Michigan, and said, in the next year, we're going to get a new steel plant, new aluminum plant, and had metrics to actually get it done. Governor Shapiro did an amazing job with reopening I-95. The whole country was cheering because he got it done in 6 weeks. And I think we need to have a more sense of a concrete. Here's what we're going to do in these 20 communities, and you're going to see the result in a year. But the president has put us on a good course, and I'm confident that Vice President Harris, when she's president, is going to build on it, and hopefully we'll do it in a more granular way.
Congressman Ro Khanna, thank you very much for joining us. I hate that we had to start with such tragic news, but I appreciate you coming on and answering questions about what the Democrats would do if they were given the power back in Congress.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.